Okay, so let me show you how to use the cursor rules. So if you have cursor rules written within one of the files like this, right, or if you have requirements or nodes set up for project, okay, so similarly you can give cursor rules like that. Okay, so let me close the project right now. So close the folder. Okay, it should be back to this default view. Right now, let's say if I open from new project or clone or connect to existing via SSH, I can add that particular dot cursor rule. So let me show you how to go back over there. So let's see. Okay, as you can see, so in my case I have nodes.txt where all the project requirements were listed. So similarly there is this cursor rule files. So this is currently empty, so I can populate this with a particular set of the rules that I want to apply for whole project, right? So to do that, what I can do is I can make use of some of right exactly. So as you can see here, we have cursor directory, and cursor.directory is the website where you can actually go to the tab called rules. Now here, considering this entire project was written for React, so I'll be picking one of the rule here. Right, so basically this rule tells you what stack to use, okay, what sort of the steps to follow. Style guidelines are also there, but apart from that it also points out to code readability and pros, okay, along with your stack explained and implementation, right? So if I want to add that to one of my cursor rule, what I have to simply do is I have to simply copy this one, go back to cursor, and here I can simply paste it. Right here you can see, if you want to make any changes to that, you can do so. And once you add this rule, all you have to do is go back to your agent mode and choose your model, add context. So in case of context, you can basically select the dot cursor rules, right? So I actually pointed that out into nodes.txt, right? So if you select the dot cursor rules within that context, it should take it, right? And any change that is about to happen to the project will consider this implementation guidelines, right? So there are things like early returns, then tailwind classes and tertiary operator and all that. So those are mentioned here already. All you have to do is just point it out to cursor rules and say execute this and apply to my existing project. So this is something we are doing after generation of project, but ideally it should be done prior to creating project, right? So that part is covered, right? And between requirements and rules you can shuffle as well, right? So let's say if I want to generate a project, but I want to also enforce some of the requirements. So first I will go through rules as well as requirements. so it will pay attention to that part. So whenever you create a folder, make sure that at least you have two files, one being your cursor rules and second being your notes or requirements. So when you have these two files, you would be able to execute a lot easier, right? Yes, and one more thing is making use of any guidelines, or if you want to switch between TypeScript and JavaScript related, you can also make use of these. For example, let's say if you have a React Native project along with TypeScript, you can make use of this, right? So there are also official and popular rules that are listed. If you click on official, you will have guidelines for Next.js, right? It's a lot longer rule set here, right? And there is also popular for, right? So let me go for React. So if you check this particular document, you will notice that it shows you all the practices, guidelines and the stack. So there is Next.js, Redux, TypeScript and your frameworks, right? So you have to explicitly mention that, otherwise it will go with the default or it will choose on its own. So most likely it will choose on its own. So that's what we are trying to avoid while executing on our project, right? So what I can do here is I can show you some of the rules for React, then TypeScript, then PHP, right? So there are plenty of them. Some are just one or two in numbers right now. Mostly the Next.js, TypeScript and React are populated, right? There is also one particular template for React Native. So if you click on it, it should appear below. So we have to just check for JavaScript and then this game development Expo, finally React Native. So between Expo and React Native you can use the one suitable, right? So mostly here you can see they have also for C# and Unity, but I don't think I have means to show you that currently. So you can make use of Expo and React Native here. Add within your project actually and then check which one is more suitable. I think this particular one which says TypeScript, React Native, Expo and your UI libraries, so this should also work. If we copy this and try to push within, let's say if I delete this and paste it here, right? We can go through this. Here you can see it's telling you about the code style and structure. There is also naming conventions and also UI. Stack is also listed along with your testing requirements, right? So all of that is listed within this particular cursor rule. So this will get executed whenever you are running your requirements. You can even explicitly mention that within your composer, right? So if you chat, you can discuss and then move on to composer, right? That's where you are basically giving it context to run this, right? And in case if there are any bugs, you can simply point it out from here and see. Okay, so one more thing, there is this documentation part which you can also find from file and then preferences and then cursor settings, right? And there is also feature or something for documentation. So this is here, you can add new doc and you can specify the documentation that you wish to import, right? So that will be available here. Yes, so this is the cursor rule for cursor.